It must be Tuesday, and I'm here to answer all your dating related questions. Although this is more of an observational post, so I won't really have much advice to give, I don't think. Well, let's get started, I guess. Some interesting dating advice from my friend who is just received her PhD in psychology. PhD in psychology. So, since it's almost a new year, yes, we're getting into 2020. This is quite a long post. Since it's almost a new year, I figured I'd share some advice I've learned the hard way as a recovering childhood trauma survivor. But also as someone fortunate enough to have a long-time friend / roommate who just received her PhD in psychology, specialising in personality disorders. Personality disorders. She taught me a ton of valuable information, especially when it comes to dating, that I wish didn't take me until now, my late 20s, to figure out. My arm hurts. Definitely going to need to do some editing. First piece of advice here. If someone is 30 or older, look for patterns. 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 Patterns throughout their adult life is key. If someone is 35 and has had a pattern throughout their entire adulthood of frequent and brief relationships, 1 to 2 years max, chances are that this is unlikely to change, especially if they lack any insight into it. I may have chosen a post that's just too long. Edit it. Someone's personality is a characteristic set of behaviours, cognitions and emotional patterns that evolve from biological and environmental factors. Some are calling it complex trauma, other psychologists refuse to label it and just treat the symptoms, others diagnose and label them. There are vast spectrums of each disorder, and a vast number of people are subclinical but still have personality traits that cause distress or disrupt their intimate relationships. AKA, they have antisocial, borderline or narcissistic traits. Traits that cause distress or disrupt their intimate relationships. I've just read that bit. Wait, what? Which means they don't qualify. AKA, they have antisocial, borderline or narcissistic traits. Which means they don't qualify for the full-blown disorder, but they have enough traits that deviate from the norm to disrupt intimate relationships. Close bracket. I'm solely bringing this up because ingrained personality traits after a certain age, like 30 in brackets, are extremely difficult to change, especially if they lack true insight. It's similar to learning a new language. Be aware and observant of that while in the dating pool. Open brackets. Tinder over 30 seems to have a lot of them. Also, my friend said. Next bullet point. This is not to pathologize. This is not to pathologize people, but to understand that attachment styles and personality traits go hand in hand, and to know when to bow out. When to bow out. Next point. How the relationship starts is how it will be throughout the relationship. So if you're feeling uneasy or having to ask Reddit. If you're having to ask Reddit or friends for advice, or to explain the person's confusing behaviour after a couple of dates or weeks, it won't change. Well, for 99% of people it won't change. Now I need to scroll up a bit. Edit. Okay. It goes on to say, patterns are huge. Patterns are huge. Patterns are huge. My friend could not stress this enough. The best predictor of future behaviour is past behaviour. The patterns. So, do not date while feeling bad or in a very vulnerable emotional state. While it's tempting, any rejection can feel much more magnified. 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 Yes, magnified. If you have an anxious attachment style, you could very well only feel chemistry with avoidant attachment styles. It's very common. Securely attached people might feel boring. Imagine that. Okay. Anyone suffering unresolved trauma, serious anxiety, depression, or a personality disorder should be actively in therapy or healing themselves while dating. Other people are not medicine. No, other people are not medicine. You do not have to be fully healed to date. Nobody is perfect, but you need insights into your patterns, and actively involved in self-care. I'm getting cramp in my foot. Could never do this live. Self-care. Do not lose yourself in a fantasy. meet the person as soon as it feels appropriate. That's what I always say. I'm not here to make pen pals. I'm here to meet people, right? And I'm a rabbit. Meet the person as soon as it feels appropriate. Do not text for weeks or months on end. In fact, people with intimacy or serious self-esteem issues should usually prefer this drawn-out way, as it's easier to do this than actually meet someone in person. So basically, get out there. Play the field. Okay, last point. We're nearly there, we're nearly done. If their communication style suddenly changes, actively engaged, then very much unengaged. Actively engaged, then very much unengaged. Take that as a sign it wasn't a connection, or they aren't looking for anything more than casual. Playing hot and cold. Yes, they could be suddenly busy, but if you read through the dating questions on Reddit, this is a huge one, and it usually ends the same way. Ends the same way. Getting disappointed when you get a text, but it's from a friend and not your date for days, is just an anxiety inducer. And this is apparently huge for trauma survivors or those with anxiety. I just wanted to share some of what has helped me and some of those insights. Well, there you have it. Consider it shared.